Okay, welcome back for another video. Got a couple things to show you actually. I'm gonna take my ring off so that I don't get crap on it. First I'm gonna show you a fail, okay? Reason I'm showing you is so you can learn and hopefully not do what my dodo head did. And I know better. I didn't do a consistency check and I should have, and this is exactly why. Because I got too much water in my paint. Even though I had the binders, Floetrol, GAC 800, all that good stuff, some of the golden fluid pouring medium, I had all that good stuff in there, but I still had too much water. And so what happened is what you see here, and they're actually, they're still stuck to the cookie jars, but so this is called cracking and crazing. It didn't really crack too much. I think this is technically more crazing, but basically it just kind of what I like to call fell apart. And you know, some people that I showed it to, like my mom, she was actually like, oh, I really like it. Sticking to the cookie thing here. Oh my goodness. Okay, there we go. All right, there we go. That way you can see it a little better. But yeah, so this way you can see it. This is what happens when you have too much water in your paint consistency. Another thing that can be a problem is if you don't have enough of the actual paint to the pouring mediums, then it can kind of break apart. But usually, I should have detached this before I started the video. Usually it's water when it starts doing this. It also spread out a lot, and so that means that the paint was too thin. And so my suspicion is that it wasn't actually my base paint. This is actually one of them from the other night, and I let it kind of thicken up and sit out for a second go, because these are pretty small canvases. So I think that should be enough to give things a second go around. What I think the culprit is I suspect it is this guy and this guy, because they're just a lot thinner. And so I'm gonna break my rule, and I do have to shake these because I didn't do it earlier. But basically I didn't do a consistency check on these two. I just kind of went for it. With the other ones, I had used them in another painting, so I had already done a consistency check within like the last couple days. So I didn't really need to do it again because I knew they were at least in the ballpark of being the correct consistency, but I didn't check these, and that's on me. So bummer for sure. I'll show you a picture of what it looked like originally when it was wet. And then obviously you've seen the disaster of it being dry. So definitely always do a consistency check, even if you're, you know, just itching to get painting. It will save you heartbreak later. You know, I really did like this one, and it just was such a bummer to come up to the studio and go, wah wah, it didn't dry well at all. It had some really cool cell reactions, like in here, and this, I don't know if you can see it, probably not, but like in here it had some really cool cell reactions. Same thing with this one, and I just thought that they matched so well. I'm so mad at myself, I won't lie. I'm salty for sure. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to do a consistency check on all of these guys, and we're gonna give it another go. And you know, it might work out, it might not, especially since, you know, we already poured on these canvases, but we're gonna give it a go. So that's what we're gonna be doing today. I also went and found a new art store. Actually, I was out for my wedding dress fitting, and my mom and sister-in-law went and were like, hey, there's a craft store. And I was like, oh, cool. And I found Amsterdam paints. I have not been able to find these in person. Like, I get them from Jerry's Artorama, but I have not been able to find these guys in person. And sometimes you want to look at them in person because as great as Jerry's Artorama is for, you know, looking at colors and stuff like that, sometimes you just want to see it, or you need to see it in person to know if that's what you really want for your piece, because you'll have like this idea, and it's hard sometimes online, you know, and it depends on, you know, their camera and their lighting, and then your screen, you know, settings and lighting and how good your screen is. I have an Apple phone, so I'm kind of, you know, spoiled. My screen is awesome for the most part, and so usually things are really true to color, honestly, but there has been a handful of occasions where I got a paint color and it was too dark, or it was too light, or, you know, it was just the wrong color, right? So I was super excited about that. I did limit myself to 5 of them. So I got a couple blues, a couple purples, and kind of like a purpley blue. So was super excited about that. The piece behind me is called Beautifully Broken. Super excited about it. I didn't do a video of it. That has been really like a project over the last number of months. And it's very different, like from what I normally do. And that's kind of what I wanted when I started it. I wanted something totally different. The first go around I had this idea, it didn't work, and so I was like, well, I used thin enough paint so I can still reuse the canvas, because you know, it's a pretty sizable canvas, so you know, those are usually $40 to $60, you know, depending on where you get them. So I really didn't want to trash the canvas if I didn't need to. So I ended up going a totally different direction than what my original thought was, but I ended up really, really liking it. And it's kind of a combination of different techniques. I took Sudafed, so I have like cotton mouth, and I'm just like, blah, 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 blah. So, but yeah, I did a bunch of different techniques. I went in with some brush strokes, and then I took a water bottle and I stood the painting up and let it kind of fall down, like kind of like tears and crying. And then I went back in, and you know, there was a couple occasions where I was like, I might have done too much. I don't know. And I just kept going, nope, we're just rolling with this. There's no pressure whatsoever. And I really ended up loving the piece. And I used a satin varnish, which I've never actually used before. I've always used like a high gloss or a like extreme sheen, or you know, something really glossy and kind of like a glassy finish, or I'll use epoxy, right? Because I love the kind of like glass-like finish. But what I've noticed is that as nice as that is, it does produce a glare. And I've had some people who wanted commissions and they didn't want that, right? So if you want a nice glassy finish, you can use the Liquitex. Oh gosh, I don't even know if I've got a bottle. I'm out of it right now. Oh, nope, I got the empty bottle. There we go. Almost out. So this is like a high gloss varnish. It's a liquid. You do have to brush it on with a brush, or you can use a microfiber towel and put it on that way, but you have to be careful about creases. So you need to make sure that you're almost like swiping in like a really flat motion. You also can flood your canvas. I did a tester with that. Don't know if I ever showed you the finished result, but I did like 2 coats. Now, if you flood it, you have to be very careful about stretching it out and making sure that it's an even coat over the whole canvas. Also, it's a little bit more expensive because this is pretty spendy stuff overall, okay? So you can use that, or you can use epoxy. Epoxy, I personally like crystal resin. That's what Canela Sirocco uses. It is specifically for like wood browns, canvases, things of that nature. So I don't get the pulling away from the edges and whatnot, like what I have with other resins, because you've got mold resins, you've got, you know, I think you have like a totally different resin for tables. I haven't done tables in so long. I couldn't even, I have a commission for a table. And so I've been on YouTube looking at okay, like what am I supposed to be using and all that good stuff. So yeah, that will be coming down the line here shortly. But this is Liquitex Satin Varnish. It's a spray varnish. And that's what I used on this. And that's why it doesn't actually have a glossy finish. It still brings out the color of the acrylic paint, because like once your acrylic paint dries, it tends to be darker and a little dull. And so you really need a varnish or epoxy or something to bring those colors kind of back to life. So this is the one that I used, Liquitex, and it's just a satin varnish. Now they also have a matte. I have not used that, so I cannot speak to what it looks like in comparison to this, or like a glossy varnish like the Liquitex, like this guy over here. So yeah, but let's get going. I'll flip you guys down. That was a long enough intro, sorry for that. I am coming with the video of all the pieces that I have for sale that maybe I haven't done a video because it was before I started all this. I also have a new camera coming. It's an actual like camcorder, because I keep getting mixed up or messing up somewhere, and it has nothing to do with my phone. It is 100% user error, but I just can't seem to figure out what I'm doing. And sometimes I get it right and sometimes I don't, and I don't know what I'm doing different. So sometimes you get like this really like narrow screen on YouTube rather than, you know, your normal just like regular screen when you're watching a video, which really irks me because one, it's hard to see, and two, it just looks lame, right? So I've got a new camera coming. I'm super excited. I spent a good chunk of money on it, but hopefully that will make a difference. It also has like a flip around camera so that I can actually see myself and make sure that like I'm in camera, you guys can see the paintings. So I'm really hoping that that makes things a little bit better. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. Thanks so much for keeping with me. Again, I'm still learning, but if you've got tips or tricks, please throw them in the comments. I love that. If you like, share, subscribe, that really helps my channel just get more views. It doesn't do anything else, I don't think, at least that I know of, aside from help with the YouTube algorithm, which I was watching a video on that too. So hopefully you guys like this. Hopefully it's a win and not a fail. And yeah, let's flip you down and we'll throw on some tunes and let you watch. All right, guys, thanks. Hold on. Okay guys, I totally forgot to go over colors in the intro. I apologize. I did put them into these cups, and the reason I did that was I did a consistency check and I needed to add, especially for these two right here, it was exactly what I was thinking. Sorry again, I've got such cotton mouth, so I'm having a hard time talking. And I'm still sniffly even though I took the Sudafed. So I apologize. But yeah, so this is Deco Art, 24 karat gold. This is, Amsterdam greenish blue. This is Payne's gray, Prussian blue, both by Amsterdam. And I don't think that there's anything else. No, just the Payne's gray and Prussian blue mix. Pineapple Crush by Color Art, one of my absolute favorite colors. I've never been a big yellow person. Like, I love Bumblebee and I'm a Transformers nut, but aside from that, you know, in the Camaro, like, not been a huge yellow fan, but I love this color. Like, look at that shimmer. And it doesn't get muddy. It doesn't. Like, I'm sure you could make it get muddy, but like when I put it in paintings, it doesn't get muddy like a normal yellow. So yeah. And then this is Lucas Krill Arctic. And this guy is Pale Olive by Winsor and Newton. So those are my colors. I just put them in here to give them a little extra Floetrol. I put in a little extra GAC 800. And then I also put in a little extra golden pouring medium. So I did not add any water. I only added pouring mediums because they were too thin. And most of these, like this one, and this one didn't have too much water. This guy, the pale olive and the Arctic, had way too much water. And usually this is the one that has too much water because it's a pigment, so it comes in like a little powder, like this, Color Art. Absolutely love their products. I want to get more for sure. But I'm on a budget until the wedding is done. So I'm restricting myself as much as it pains me. But yeah, so if you ever have cracking, crazing, it's most likely, at least like how I showed you. I mean, you can have cracking and crazing from a number of things, but for what I had, like where it kind of just fell apart, it was too much water, and it was these two that was the. Ooh, I'm gonna knock stuff over, and I just stuck my finger in that. Gosh, can't take me anywhere. All right, and everybody wonders why I have paint all over my clothes. I just wipe it on them. But yeah, these two guys right here were the culprits. The rest of them were fine. I did put a little bit more of the deco art, this guy, in because it just seemed to be kind of muted. And I think honestly it was because it wasn't totally mixed up. Like you can kind of see, maybe not. It doesn't. It when I poured it out, it looked very muted. And I don't dare shake these too vigorously because then you get those little kind of fine, kind of almost pinprick air bubbles, but then they show up in your painting and they kind of make it look crappy. So I didn't dare shake it, so I just added a little bit more of this and then gently stirred it with the stir sticks. So anywho, there's my colors, guys. Sorry I didn't include it in the intro. And yeah, we'll pop over to the painting now, and I hope you like it. I think it turned out super awesome. I gave myself a little bit of a scare and thought I didn't record again, but thankfully my little dodo head did hit record. So stay tuned for the dry, and I don't know if I'm going to varnish this or if I'm going to do epoxy. They're pretty small, so we might do that instead. So stay tuned, and I'll show you the next part soon.
Sometimes when I'm thinking about us, before we got lost and we parted, back to back we would carry on and we'd do anything for what we started. But this time we could break, I'm running dry, everything's the same. We'll try tonight, this time we're not safe and sound, not safe and sound. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? Yeah. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? Yeah. Sometimes when I'm reasoning about us, I know you got me, it's so effortless. Back to back we would carry on and do anything for what we started. But this time we could break, I'm running dry, everything's the same. We'll try tonight, this time we're not safe and sound, not safe and sound. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? Yeah. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? Yeah. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? Yeah. What if I'm no good for you? What if Kinda simple, kinda wishful about things. And you're kinda simple, but like a pistol, you fire. Sometimes you get under my skin like a lover, and sometimes you don't wanna come back 'cause you'd rather stay out with another. Talking to strangers and make out spontaneously. Now I'm so tired of hearing all your stories about the drunk nights, bragging in the glory. You're such a nice guy when you're not just talking about yourself and the way of how you dwell. I get it. Oh, I'm so tired of hearing all your stories about your rich friends traveling Mercedes. You're such a nice guy when you're not just talking about yourself and the way of how you dwell. Don't you get it? You do it right. Hold me tight when I need it. And you always like what I like we know each other. But sometimes you get under my skin like a lover, and sometimes you don't wanna come back 'cause you'd rather stay out with another. Talking to strangers and make out spontaneously. Oh, I'm so tired of hearing all your stories about your rich friends traveling Mercedes. You're such a nice guy when you're not just talking about yourself and the way of how you dwell. Don't you get it? You're such a nice guy when you're not just talking about yourself and the way of how you dwell. I get it. Now I'm so tired of hearing all your stories about your rich friends traveling Mercedes. You're such a nice guy when you're not just talking about yourself and the way of how you dwell. I get it. Don't you get it? Now I'm so tired of hearing all your stories about your rich friends traveling Mercedes. You're such a nice guy when you're not just talking about yourself and the way of how you dwell. Don't you get it? No.
Okay, guys. Well, I totally gave myself a heart attack and thought I had not hit record on my phone and was just like, I'm so dumb. I'm such a dodo. But thank goodness I did. But yeah, I totally gave myself a heart attack. I was like, man, I suck so much. But no, we're good. We're good. Everything was on video. So, wow, this turned out so cool. At first I was really not digging this green. But I did scrape a little bit over here because I felt like it was just too much, right? Because you've got over here, you've got here. But I love it. The cell reaction is gorgeous. And it just as it's developing, it's just getting better and better. Like I love this part. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited about it. I did blow this part out because I just felt like there was missing some dark. I kind of wish there was a little bit more of this Payne's gray. Shoot, I didn't tell you my colors either. I'll do that in a second and I'll edit that in. If I hadn't told you, you wouldn't have known, but it's okay. So, but I will bring you in for a close-up. This is just really, really pretty, and I'm trying to hold as still as I can. I took Sudafed because of my allergies, and I'm a little trembly, shaky, because it gives you the jitters, you know. But oh, look at that. Look at it. It's so pretty. I love it. Oh my goodness. I'm trying to hold as still as I can and then still block out the glare. Okay, and you can hear the rain is just pissing down. Welcome to the PNW. This is why my dogs are mad at me. It wasn't raining earlier when I put them out. It had a break, but look at this. Look at how pretty that is, right? Oop, right there. So pretty. And I just bumped my camera. Sorry, guys. Okay, well, you know, pretty darn cool. So hopefully the second attempt is the winner. I actually love this one more than the first one. So fingers crossed it dried. I did do a consistency check on every single paint, including my base paint. The only thing I didn't do a consistency check was for this guy right here, which I just filled in right here, so I'm not too terribly worried about it. And it was about the same consistency, so I'm not sweating that too much. But oh my goodness, I hope this dries just like this, and it is going to be such a pretty piece. So yeah, hang tight. Going to be a couple seconds for you, a couple hours for me, and I will show you the dry. Oop, fingers in the way. I'll show you the dried result. All right, guys, stay tuned. Okay, guys, welcome back. And this is the dry results. Sorry, I'm getting over being sick. I'm kind of bummed because it didn't shift or like fall apart, but because I did it over another painting, excuse me, I had some cracking and crazing, and so I'll bring you in here. You can kind of see what I'm talking about. And I'm trying to balance on the stool, so I apologize if I'm moving the camera a little bit. But so like the actual painting would have been fine had I done it on a new canvas, I think. This is like all from underneath, which is just a big bummer. And I think that also might have been because I painted on it too soon. I think I didn't let it fully cure because it was just like a couple days later. So unfortunately, this is what happens. Bummer too, because it's really pretty. So I'm gonna try to do some problem solving to see if I can save it. Maybe do like I'll probably like go in with a brush and paint in here and see if I can kind of cover some of that up, and then put like some epoxy on it or something and see how it turns out. So anywho, stay tuned and I'll show you the next part in a bit. Okay guys, well, this is the first layer of hopefully correcting my oopsies. So there's nothing I can do about the Dutch pour. Dutch pour is the way the Dutch pour is. Sorry for the fly that is annoyingly flying around my studio right now. He will die soon. I have a dishcloth that I just need to smack him with, and I haven't been able to do so yet. So I have terrible aim. Anywho, yeah, so as you can probably see, especially in here, because the paint is wet, you've got some cracking and crazing. That is the result of being a little too excited and not really thinking things through. This was a really, really rookie mistake, which is why I'm so mad at myself, because I know better. I definitely know better, but I got super excited, wanted to paint, was gonna use the canvases again, And I just didn't allow enough time for the original painting to cure. And what happens is the top layer dries faster than the bottom layer because it's exposed to air. And I also had a heater in here. And unfortunately that it resulted in the problems that we're looking at right now. So basically what I did is I took some Amsterdam white and the GAC 800 just to kind of thin it down, because you don't want to really add any more water to anything because it's already kind of caused an issue, because anytime your paints are too thin, this can result, especially like if you're painting on top of another painting. So but yeah, so I think it looks better. I did go in with a brush. I tried to make it look as real, well, not realistic, but just as organic, I guess, as possible. So I'm gonna cover this with a layer of epoxy, which I'm a little nervous about because it is a very thin canvas. It's not the gallery wrapped canvas. So I don't know, you'll see this either way. It's a great learning video, and hopefully will ingrain in my brain not to have such a dodo moment, because the painting itself is actually really, really pretty. The colors are beautiful. The cell reaction was beautiful. So yeah, I don't know, kind of bummed that I kind of botched this one, but hopefully we can fix it to make it look, you know, pretty good. And then the resin will most likely cover in and hide the little texture and stuff like that. Or, you know, maybe somebody likes the texture and still wants to buy it. I have done all the things to seal it to make sure it doesn't continue to crack, craze, fall apart. And then the epoxy will really just seal everything in so that that's not a concern. So just kind of depends on, I guess, what you're looking for, what you like. But I did go through and fix, you can probably take a screenshot from the previous clip where I was like, okay, here's where the cracking and crazing happened. Sorry for the fly. And then like where I came back in with the white. So yeah, you can kind of see this is that cracking and crazing. So the actual cracking is where the paint splits, right? So it's like right in here. So like where this light green is, and you've got that kind of turquoise coming through, that's cracking. The crazing is where you get these lines and the texture. So yeah, unfortunately, just a dodo moment. Such a bummer because it's such a pretty piece, but hey, you know, we might be able to make it work still. So anywho, stay tuned.